As a psychologist, I've witnessed firsthand how burnout, exhaustion, and stress can weigh people down, sometimes even to the point of feeling like life has lost its joy and meaning. Many of my patients come to me not because they lack ambition, drive, or capability, but because they are tired, deeply and profoundly tired. It was during my own quest for understanding rest and renewal that I came across Dr. Saundra Dalton Smith's book, Sacred Rest. Her insights on the 7 types of rest have provided a guide for my patients towards a more balanced and restorative life. Welcome back to Savvy Psychologist. I'm your host, Dr. Monica Johnson. Every week on this show, I'll help you face life's challenges with evidence-based approaches, a sympathetic ear, and zero judgment. Let's explore these 7 types of rest, why they matter, and how you can incorporate them into your daily routine to reclaim your energy and joy. The first is physical rest. Physical rest is often the first type of rest we think about, but it's also one most easily overlooked. It comes in 2 forms: passive rest, such as sleeping and napping, and active rest, which includes activities like stretching, yoga, and massage. While we often push through physical fatigue with caffeine or sheer willpower, our bodies do keep a running tally of the neglect. If you're feeling physically depleted, ask yourself, am I consistently getting 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep? Am I giving my body what it needs, like movement, hydration, and nutritious food? Small changes like incorporating a 5-minute stretch routine or setting a consistent bedtime can begin to replenish this crucial type of rest. Number 2 is mental rest. In today's hyper-connected world, our brains are constantly bombarded with information. Many people experience mental fatigue, that feeling of being overwhelmed by their own thoughts or a to-do list that never ends. Mental rest is about giving your mind a break. Strategies to improve mental rest include keeping a notepad by your bed to jot down lingering thoughts, scheduling short breaks during your workday to step away from screens, practicing mindfulness or deep breathing exercises to center yourself. Remember, a rested mind is more productive and creative than a perpetually busy one. Number 3 is emotional rest. Have you ever felt the exhaustion of always trying to appear okay? Emotional rest involves giving yourself permission to be authentic and vulnerable. It's about expressing your true feelings rather than suppressing them for the comfort of others. Let's talk about some things that you can do to foster emotional rest. Seek out relationships where you can be your true self without fear of judgment. Work with a therapist or trusted confidant to process difficult emotions. Learn to say no without guilt. Recognizing your emotional capacity is not infinite. Emotional rest can be life-changing. It's the freedom to put down the mask and simply be. Number 4 is social rest. Not all relationships are created equal. Some are life-giving, while others are energy draining. Social rest is about identifying which relationships restore you and which ones deplete you. Let's talk about some ways that you can achieve social rest. Spend more time with people who uplift and energize you. Set boundaries with those who drain your energy. Make time for solitude if you're feeling overextended socially. Social rest isn't about withdrawing from others entirely, but rather curating your connections to nurture your well-being. Number 5 is sensory rest. We live in a world of sensory overload. Bright screens, loud environments, and constant notifications create a relentless assault on your senses. Sensory rest helps you unplug and recalibrate. Here are some ways to incorporate sensory rest. Turn off notifications on your phone and limit screen time. Spend time in quiet, low-light environments. Taking walks in nature can reset your senses. The world doesn't need to be muted forever, but periodic breaks can significantly reduce stress and anxiety. Number 6 is creative rest. Creative rest is the antidote to the exhaustion that comes from problem solving, brainstorming, and innovation. It's about reconnecting with beauty, inspiration, and wonder. Here are some things you can do if you're feeling creatively depleted. Visit an art gallery, listen to music, or spend time in nature. Take up a hobby that allows you to express yourself, such as painting, writing, or gardening. Allow yourself moments of awe, whether it's stargazing or watching a sunrise. Creative rest reminds us that we're not just problem solvers, we're also creators who need to be inspired. Number 7 is spiritual rest. Spiritual rest is about finding meaning and connection beyond yourself. For some, this comes from faith or prayer. For others, it's about mindfulness, meditation, or acts of service. Here are some things that you can do to cultivate spiritual rest. Spend time in meditation or prayer. Reflect on your values and align your actions with them. Volunteer or contribute to a cause that you believe in. Spiritual rest provides a sense of purpose and belonging, reminding us that we are a part of something greater. Now I'm going to give you an example of a rest plan through our example girl, Jessica. Jessica is a 35-year-old marketing professional who has been feeling burnt out and emotionally drained. Inspired by the 7 types of rest, she decides to create a plan to restore balance in her life. First, let's look at her plan for physical rest. Jessica realizes her body feels tense and tired. She starts her plan with an active rest session, a 20-minute yoga practice followed by a warm bath with Epsom salts. She also commits to going to bed an hour earlier to ensure she gets at least 8 hours of sleep. Second is mental rest. To calm her overactive mind, Jessica schedules 3 10-minute breaks throughout her workday, where she steps away from the computer to breathe deeply and stretch. She also sets a rule: no emails or work after 7 p.m., to give her mind space to relax. Next is emotional rest. Jessica calls her best friend and shares her recent struggles. She journals about her feelings, acknowledging the stress she's been carrying, and gives herself permission to not have all the answers. Next is social rest. Recognizing the need to recharge, Jessica politely declines an invitation to a large social event. Instead, she spends quality time with her partner, watching a favorite movie, and enjoying a quiet dinner at home. Next is sensory rest. Jessica notices how drained she feels from constant phone notifications and screen time. She sets her phone to do not disturb for the evening, dims the lights in her living room, and enjoys a book. Next is creative rest. Jessica takes a morning walk in a nearby park, admiring the trees and listening to birds. Later, she revisits an old passion for watercolor painting, creating something just for fun. Lastly, there's spiritual rest. Jessica spends the morning meditating and reflecting on her core values and writes down 3 things that she's grateful for. These habits help her find and connect with her purpose. Jessica's plan helps her address each type of rest without overwhelming herself. By intentionally integrating these moments of rest, she feels more aligned, energized, and ready to tackle the demands of her life with renewed stress. As you listen to these 7 types of rest, you might find that certain areas resonate more strongly than others. That's okay. Rest is not one size fits all, and our needs can shift over time. What's important is recognizing where you feel depleted and taking intentional steps to replenish yourself. In my work as a psychologist, I've seen the power of rest transform lives. When people understand their needs and honor their limits, they begin to thrive in ways that they never imagined. So I encourage you to take a moment today to reflect. Where are you most tired? And how can you start reclaiming the rest that you deserve? After all, rest isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Accepting the rest you need without judgment is a profound act of self-compassion. Let go of the guilt or the fear of being perceived as lazy. Recognize that honoring your need for rest is a sign of strength and wisdom, and you are so very worth it. How are you going to allow yourself to rest this year? Let me know. You can contact me via Instagram at KindMindPsych or via my email at psychologist@quickanddirtytips.com. The Savvy Psychologist is a Quick and Dirty Tips podcast. It's audio engineered by Steve Rickyberg with script editing by Brandon Getchis. Our podcast and advertising operations specialist is Morgan Christensen. Our digital operations specialist is Holly Hutchings. And our marketing and publicity associate is Davina Tomlin. Nathaniel Hoops is our marketing contractor. Follow Savvy Psychologist on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's all for this episode of Savvy Psychologist. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.